Damas y caballeros, bienvenidos una vez más a nuestro programa Sermon on the Mount. Alright, bro. Somebody got to take this away from us, bro. Okay, let's go. He's stuck away.
Alright, let's start.
Oh my gosh. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Sermon on the Mount.
Woo.
We're back,
Come
boys.
on, we're back. Another
back.
episode. We got a different scenario.
New setup.
Yeah, new setup.
I don't know if it'll last, but I think it's a vibe.
Looks
It's a vibe.
looks good.
I think we can make any place ours.
Bro, we can, bro. So like next time we got to do like an outdoor one. We'll go to South Flats, bro, and just do a podcast right there.
That would be
Just in the
crazy.
middle of the,
Except
we
where
do have
we're
to-
gonna
we
plug
can find
in
those
the computers
couches
and stuff.
Those couches that are in the middle of the salt flats.
Yeah,
bro.
exactly, dude.
Oh, dude,
That's in
cool.
like a podcast spot. And we
that's-
do have to film our Easter video, so we got to take a
Yeah.
trip.
That's a crazy
Hey.
statement. You're gonna sit on those couches that like
yeah,
are
bro,
in the
at
middle
South
of the
Flats,
road.
in the middle of nowhere, bro.
Hey, where we are,
You guys trust
God
that?
is, bro.
Oh,
Exactly.
Yeah.
The ticks
Come on.
leave.
In the name
Name?
of
Jesus.
Jesus. All right, guys. So welcome to today's episode. We got a really fun topic to talk about. We interrupt our program. We were going to talk about purpose after talking about identity,
Yes.
but
Postpone.
postpone till next episode because now we're going to talk about something really important. We're going to be talking about love.
And the reason he says it like that is because he was born on the day of love.
Yeah, bro.
That's his
So
birthday.
for those who don't know, I was born on February 14th, the year 2000. That's 2000,
Yeah.
Which makes him,
7:42 a.m., which makes me a lover boy.
but it makes him how old? Do the math.
Do
Put
the
it in the
math.
comments.
Just check the year you're at. Okay, anyways. But for real, okay.
It's the
So
easiest thing.
the reason why we're like, we got to talk about love, dating, crushes, and just all type of like high school love is
Yeah.
where like it really picks up.
yeah.
Is because we were talking to some kids at church.
They are 12.
Shout out to our boy.
They're 13,
wait, I'm not
bro.
gonna
He's
say
not
names.
12.
Don't expose.
Because maybe the parents don't
He's
know.
probably not 12. He's definitely
Yes.
13.
No.
He's around 13.
And he's like,
That who
he's
may
like,
not be named
Who's
is
that?
Who's
He was about to say it, bro.
Who's that?
Maybe the parents don't know, bro. We're about to expose him on the spot, but you
Said
know
he-
what I'm
he
talking
said he's
about.
got a girlfriend. He's like 12
There's
years
two
old.
guys.
Come on,
Well,
that's
two
crazy,
guys,
bro.
bro.
They were
Two of 'em.
competing about having a girl. He's like,
Come
you got a
on.
girl? He's like, no, you don't got a girl.
He's like, what you
I
get
got
her
a
for
girl.
Valentine's Day, stuff like that. And
He's
it's
like, I got a Valentine.
Yeah, and then another one of the on the team too. She was like, yeah,
Oh,
I ain't
yeah.
gonna ask him to be my Valentine. He gotta ask me. She said.
Hey,
Shout out,
man.
respect.
getting
she knows her words,
spicy,
bro.
bro.
She knows her values. She's like,
and she's Latina, so that gives you a whole lot of answers.
Okay.
but that's all we gotta talk about. We gotta talk about romance.
It's important. Romance.
Romance.
It's the same thing, bro. Love, bro. He said romance, bro. He took it a level too far. Okay, but let's talk about it and in general. It just has to be taught because as Christian youth, that's the thing. We were debating from the very
Yeah.
beginning because I suggested we got to talk about dating crush like weeks ago, and like it's like, wait, are we allowed to? I mentioned it to my sister, and she's like, dude, like no, the Christian people don't talk about that. I'm like, exactly. That's why we got to talk about it because if you're in middle school, if you're in high school, dude, the first time I saw kids dating, well, I was in 5th or 6th grade.
Oh, it happened so early.
Dude, it's so early, dude.
Yeah.
Whoever can run fastest in the class gets the girl.
Gets the
bro.
girl.
That's the crazy.
Whoever caught the most touchdowns in the second
Yeah,
grade.
man. Come on, bro. That's an easy
Whoever
way, bro.
sweated the hardest. in
No
recess.
risk. What?
Yeah, and so from a very beginning, we're not gonna talk about the root of where all like attraction
Dating
comes from,
yeah.
but
Yes.
but navigating like
As you
um,
develop
What to stay
your
away from?
emotions.
Yeah, what to stay away from?
I want to
like,
stay away from.
Kind of like how to navigate. Yeah, like
Yeah.
like say,
So-
navigate through some situations.
So look, we had 3 different
Perspectives.
scenarios, places. So, for example, our boy David right here,
Yes.
he's happily married,
Yes.
has been for the last year,
Year
and
and-
something.
5 months. I don't know.
Yeah, and he just has a newborn daughter as well.
Yes.
Like the family's growing.
Yes.
And then you guys got me, who I'm currently dating. I got my girlfriend. Shout out to Delphi. Pereira.
Dude, you better have said something or else she would have.
Don't come back.
Don't get to me, bro.
Keep going.
But anyways,
keep going. You're not finished.
yeah, we've been dating for about a year now, so it's an interesting perspective as well. Because as Christian, you got to learn how to navigate dating, and so I feel like I'm not really allowed to talk about dating until I'm married, because you got to talk about it like
Yeah.
the confidence of the youth and be like, okay, this is what you can do, right? And this is because I'm still
But-
trying to figure it out. You can talk about you guys' dating
Yeah.
say and stuff like that. How that came to be like you know, being fired and burned up for God, and then meeting Maya, because I know you guys have an awesome testimony about that. And we got Brian, who you ladies, if anybody is,
Chill, bro.
no, I'm kidding.
Hey, I'm
bro.
just a single person. I'm just
He's
a
starting to
single
blush.
guy. I'm just a single guy right here.
And let us know in the
Hey,
comments.
you can't find him on Tinder. You can't find him on Bumble. You find him
He's
in
a
the
man
house of God.
in the house of God.
Nah, man. I'm single.
Look.
Hey, I'm single. That's all it is, man. I'm working on myself.
Which is important.
Yes.
It's important. It's one of the most
A
important
good
phases.
perspective to have.
It's called the season of isolation.
No, it's
Well,
not,
no,
bro.
it's
It's called the
not.
season
Yeah.
of growth.
Yeah.
You said
the season of preparation.
Oh,
This
my
is-
fault, my
but this
fault.
is also what we need to talk about. Just because you're single, like that is the biggest thing that led. Like
Misconception.
it comes from peer pressure. We talked about peer pressure already, but sometimes peer pressure makes you have to talk to a girl. Like your friends will, your guy friends will just make you go and talk to a girl.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, dude, you
Yeah.
got to go talk to her, and you'll go talk to a girl you don't even know if you like, but the peer pressure gets to you.
Or
kinda-
people.
Yeah, no, bro. I actually this guy.
Yeah,
This guy, bro.
Yeah, you, bro. I won't let the peer pressure.
Before
get to
I was
me,
dating, bro, every time he'd be like, "Yo, man, you want to talk to her?"
Hey, you want me to show you how to get a girl's number?
Oh.
We're exposing David
Listen,
today.
listen. Let's go back to the topic at hand. And another point that I was gonna say is there's also other people that like don't like to be single or like are
Yeah.
afraid to be alone. Dude, my brother's like that.
Oh, yeah.
Hate to expose him, but like the second he's out of a relationship, he's trying to be in another one. I think that's bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's bad in the sense because you depend on other people for happiness, and
Yeah,
That's why
that's depending on
Season
human
of
for
preparation.
happiness
yeah,
is like the worst thing you can do. Oh, God's the only
Yeah.
the person that you need the most.
exactly. So I'll set some ground because the Bible does say that the two will come together and will become one. Not that the two halves will fulfill each other. It doesn't say that.
No.
It says 1 + 1 will equal 1.
Yep.
It's one full person and another full person coming together in Christ is a one person.
Yeah.
And that
type of
means
crew.
so much more than you like really
Yeah.
understand in the sense of like you guys, everything is together.
Yeah.
One.
And so like in general, you talk about love, you talk about you can talk about the love for shoes, the love for money, or the love with a person. And at the end of the day, you're trying to find something that will fill, something that you're probably missing or looking for in your life. And we're not saying that dating is bad and that as a Christian you shouldn't be doing it, but we are saying that there are bad reasons for why young people start dating.
Yeah. Or what healthy dating looks like.
Which is one of those things that we just don't know what it should be look like,
Yeah.
the example, because we feel like, everybody's looking at me and they're expecting me to do things right and
Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
learn from it. So
It's such a hard topic because like as Christians, we think like at least we all should have the perspective that like you date to marry, right? Like the intention of dating
Okay.
someone is to marry.
And then that, it's like completely honest, that whole like conception of marriage, like dating to marriage, is just in the world it does not exist. It's completely gone. So I think
Yeah.
until you're like you actually start, and it's like you were saying, it's not talked about enough at all. So I think until you actually start looking for it, or until somebody mentions, you have no idea. Like there's a lot of people that don't know that
yeah.
that you shouldn't like
Like-
sleep with other people until marriage and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've had friends in the past that told me I don't believe in marriage. Just like you
Yeah.
get married, you throw a party, and then if it doesn't work out, you get divorced. And it's like that is the minded state of a lot of people of this generation. Like I don't believe in marriage. But what the Bible says about marriage is that these two people come together and God blesses a covenant.
Yeah.
And so a covenant is the promise, is a pact. It's the I'm doing this and I'm sticking together and God blesses covenant. That's what we miss a lot of the time. That
And-
God blesses when we do things
Yep.
with integrity.
And it's important for those that aren't Christian that want to have a healthy relationship. Or I'm not saying, I'm going to say this with all love. If a lot of the people in the world really, if you really look at it, a lot of the people that get divorced is because they don't have a God-centered relationship. Because when you get married with God, it's a three-knot tie, and a three-knot tie.
Dude, in Spanish I can say
Yeah,
it better.
yeah. It's a lot better in Spanish to explain it, but it's a knot of
Yeah.
three ties. I don't know how to say it in
Something
English,
like that.
but a knot of three ties is pretty much, or a tie of three knots is pretty much unbreakable. It's unbreakable, and that third tie in the marriage is Christ. So it's you two, and then Christ.
That brings the things together.
Yeah, and it holds it together, and
Yeah.
and I think that's why we see what's the stat like 50% of marriages end in divorce.
No, it's more. It's way more. It's I think it's something like up in there, like 65s, almost 70s.
Something like that.
It's an insane.
It's
amount.
insane, and it's gone up over the years where a lot of stuff is glorified. Like a lot of stuff is glorified.
It's just like come out and say it, man. It's like whoever can pick up the most, bodies is
Yeah.
basically what is considered cool nowadays. Which
I mean, it's always been like that.
Yeah.
From the very beginning. I'm like, you go way back, and where all that came from, and the reason why it's
and that's why
taught,
it's
and
a
the reasons
scary
believed.
topic to get into because of
Yeah.
how deep it gets. It really gets like.
Yeah.
But the point of this one would be to talk about like I think at least the way I look at it, I don't think necessarily like trying to find somebody to be with is wrong or trying to date is wrong, as long as you're ready for what comes with being in a relationship, and what the point of a relationship is. Not saying like don't date in high school or don't try to like somebody, like no emotions and people are people, but if you're at the age where you're starting to come to these emotions or you're starting to like look at somebody and you're like, dang, I like them.
and you can't control it.
It's learn how to be doing it in a healthy way, in a correct way.
So we'll talk a little bit about that, but let's talk about personal experience because we'll talk about what to do, what not to do.
All right, so for me, my personal experience.
He's like, I'm gonna get this out of the way.
I'm gonna get it out. I'm gonna get it out of the way for me first. I have not had like since coming into like God to the church. I have not had a girlfriend.
But before that, you
But
did.
Before that,
Okay, but what did
Yeah.
you learn from that, man?
well,
From your experiences, because even outside of like being Christian, like our experiences that we have teaches us things, and so clearly you learned something, or did you not?
I feel like
When you reflect on it, maybe you have to reflect on it now, and now that you're in the Lord, and you're like, okay, look, I definitely wasn't in the right mindset.
Okay, so I was definitely one of the type of people that you call a simp.
SIMP. Squirrels in my pants.
I feel like that's how I was before the word was even created, bro. It was
That's
before-
actually weird.
what?
It's just that you know how it was the Phineas and Ferb episode.
What are you talking about?
SIMP, squirrels in my pants.
Oh my
Bro, but now it just.
What are you talking about?
You've never seen
Phineas and Ferb?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Alright,
But
that's-
anyways,
that's
this
the
guy,
topic.
in
Yeah,
a way, you were desperate. You were wanting.
He was
You were
down,
cha- you were
he was
chasing
down
after.
bad.
You were
Okay.
He was down bad.
I think it had to do a lot with my growing up, where I felt like I always wanted to be loved.
Needing attention.
Yeah, I needed attention. So I was always like
That man is being real and honest because not does anybody says that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. Like
That's
I'm
a
being-
crazy
I'm being
statement.
straight
I
up.
respect that.
I'm being vulnerable.
Yeah.
And looking for love anywhere. And I think that kind of led me to a mentality where trying to get validation from other people.
Yeah.
And I think that translated into a relationship where I think my first relationship was it was actually funny. At the end of 6th grade, like I was in a relationship for like my first relationship a week before school ended.
Bro, is that spring fever, bro? Is this
Yeah,
a real thing? I remember middle school,
right before
dude, in the
right
spring.
before school
This
ended.
guy's having crazy nostalgia, bro. Like he's remembering everything, bro.
Fever,
Spring fever. Come
That's
on,
the
bro.
thing, man.
We're
School's
in-
almost out.
Yeah,
Don't go to
yeah.
class.
Yeah.
All right.
Alright,
I
okay.
get you. I get you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Alright, but it lasted 1 week, okay?
Yeah, because then school ended. And what were you gonna do in the
and
summer?
then
You
after
guys
that, I
ended up
never
close.
saw the girl again.
He's still heartbroken.
I'm so heartbroken, bro. My heart still aches.
If
bro.
you're
like,
watching this
"Where
girl from
are
6th
you?"
grade,
Oh man,
Come back.
come back,
I missed you.
dude. Oh man, you're making me laugh way too hard, bro. Okay, and honestly, I didn't know back then, but that thing just kept translating to middle school. In middle school, and I was kind of just, I don't know. I was a weird kid. That's when I started getting into more, into things that are like,
vices.
yeah, vices. It's a weird phase because it was like I'm old enough. How do I explain it? I knew exactly what I was doing, and I should not have been doing it, but I still did it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm telling you for the exact reason of validation.
Yeah.
But then, I got into a relationship at the end of 8th grade, going into 9th grade, and that lasted all the way up until 10th. And honestly, it was the exact same situation. I learned nothing from that from that first time. I feel like that's all I wanted to do. Just like, I was just like, I just wanted to be loved by that girl so much. In the end, it didn't work out.
And it hurt you.
Yeah, and it hurt a lot,
Yeah.
a lot. I was like a lot, dude.
Just kidding.
Oh, come on, man.
Just kidding, dude.
No, it may mean it.
Yeah.
It makes sense, especially if you lack love
But you know what's crazy? I'm sorry that I joked about that, but it's as a kid, like when you're younger. I don't mean kid, like when you're younger, but literally as you're growing up, you're figuring out how much to actually believe. And so when you tell somebody you're the love of my life at a young age, they literally are the love of your life because you've never had anything like that. And you don't know you don't know how to measure it. And your feelings, you're pouring out all your feelings into that person at that age. You're not holding any of that because in that first relationship, and that's why you got to be careful in that first relationship to understand that don't just give yourself away for free in everything because you're actually exposing yourself out there and you get hurt. And like a 13-year-old person who just gives themselves away fully and they feel like they're dying, it's because they literally don't know another feeling outside of
And
that.
that brings a different things to deal with, like depression or trying to get rid of those emotions by doing other things.
And the healing process for that, man, is not the easiest.
Yeah. Like I was saying, I think just like what you just said, it's like in a natural perspective is that we look at things like, oh, like I was super hurt by it when that happened. But it's because like you were saying, it was literally like it was a portion. It was almost 2.5 years of my life, and at that point I was 16. So imagine way down the line where we're basically like 60, 70 years old. That's about 5% of your life right there. Dude, just about all that time spent, which is put in perspective, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So I think just like, and it's also part of like your brain developing. It's like you're growing up and
Your frontal lobe.
Yeah, those things start affecting your mind when and you don't even know it.
Yeah,
like it starts becoming part of your personality.
Yeah. David, let's talk about you and Maya. Tell us about Maya and you.
Like what?
Just I don't know, how'd you guys start talking?
Okay.
And then like your guys' relationship with a meeting.
Yeah, that's a way better.
And then God, putting God in it.
Yeah.
That's a way better story than mine.
No, it's different
More
points of views.
interesting.
And I loved hearing what Brian had to say.
It's more interesting.
And thank you, dude, because it's true. I think what Brian had gone through, a lot of people go through. I think a lot of us.
I don't like talking about that stuff for me when I was young, bro. Honestly, it's just
I was still trying to heal with that.
yeah. No,
But
I know. I
it
peeled
is,
past
yeah.
it. It's just like thinking back about what my mindset was at that age and what it like led me to do. Because if you don't view relationships like in a healthy perspective, if you don't view like respect or a woman or a man in a point of like purity or respect, you'll do things that you're not supposed to.
Exactly.
Which is why I think if you're gonna date or if you're looking to do it, like make sure you have like a healthy understanding of what dating is, of what it is to like someone from a pure perspective, and then grow into loving someone. Because at the end of the day, love is a choice, I believe. And if you don't even have the decision to go to the bathroom because that's your teacher, or to drive your car late at night, like do you have
That's actually crazy.
You know
That's
what I'm saying?
crazy what you say. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Let you say that.
But my relationship with Maya, honestly, I know it's God sent, just because I met you guys back in like 2017.
2017.
2017 was when I first when I was first like coming to God, and I was like, I need to change my life. Like one of the first times where I had this fire kind of came and went as I developed and really
But that's
grew
when
with
you,
myself.
yeah.
When I first had that fire.
You grew the desire. Yeah. You're like, I want this.
Yeah. When that first came into my life, like fully fired up.
That's when God spoke to you.
Yes. And
He showed up. Yeah.
I went to this youth conference, and it's funny because I still remember you guys. You guys were all so much smaller.
You do remember now?
Yeah.
Dude, because remember when we first started talking, that you
'Cause
started
you
talking about
remember-
you didn't remember, but I was like,
Yeah.
dude.
I
do you
don't
not
remember
remember?
meeting Maya, but I do remember that we did because we followed it. She followed me on Instagram. Look, she liked all of my pictures.
That day?
Dude, not that
When
day.
you guys met?
No, not that
Oh.
day, but as I got older.
Crazy.
Because he was underage.
I was actually I was just barely graduated, bro. And she's 4 years, she's almost 3 years older than me.
3, 2.5.
2.5, I'm 3.
2.5. Is that 4 years?
Yeah. She's gonna watch us.
She was waiting, bro.
No, anyways, I had just graduated high school, and I went to this youth conference, and you guys played, and everybody on the youth or on the worship team was all young, and I thought that was really cool. And I can't remember how the conversation started, but we went up and we ended up talking to each other.
Yeah.
And you and I talked quite a bit.
Yeah, because it was after they were like
Yeah.
after the servicing ended.
Yeah.
They had like a cafeteria area. They had some couches, a TV, and there were some guys playing video games. And during that I don't know. They played music. We're like, dude, let's have like this praise break, like this dancing moment. And we got our group and everybody just started dancing right there. Doing this crazy dance. You might not remember.
I don't remember that.
But you were probably with the guys on the couch right there playing video games. And I remember I sat with you and we talked. And during that, you were like telling me like, dude, like, where'd you guys come from? Like, because you saw us just dancing out there going crazy. And you're like, dude, where are you guys from? Like, are you guys from here? And then I was like, yeah, we got these youth events that we do.
I remember that because I told you
that's
that
when we talked.
Yeah, I was like,
so that's where we got your IG and all that.
Yeah, I was like, I'm trying to find youth that are like that. Yeah, that's what I remember. But I don't know how it ended up. I know that Marcus and I talked a good bit, and then I don't know how Maya and I ended up, but she followed me. We followed each other, and then we went our separate ways. This is what's crazy. We went our separate ways, and I think this part's important because everybody has to go through a process till they're ready for where. Where
it's called development.
Development, yeah. And so I wouldn't be able to. If I started a relationship with Maya at that moment, we wouldn't be where we're at now because I needed to go through what I went through in those 4 years from when we talked to when 3 years.
And I'll tell you this, bro. The development David went through, like me knowing my sister, she was like, I'm not dating nobody younger than me. Like she like mature, grown guys, not like old. Like don't get me wrong, but it was like. Maturity. She liked the maturity. Yeah. And then when she's like, "Yeah, I'm talking to David," we're like, he my age, like, But there was something that happened in David's life that really just changed the person he was.
Yeah. So I went through a lot because
from boy to man.
Yeah. No, seriously, because I had my daughter later that almost a year after, kind of around that time. My first daughter, Zinnia, and I went through a bunch of stuff where I was living in the world. I wasn't doing anything good really, and. It came to a point where I was like, you know what, I need to go to my first real love where I really felt, that I had purpose and calling, and I went to God, and a bunch of stuff happened, and I prayed, and like I got back to the same hunger that I had, and this time it was serious because I told that story I think in one of the podcasts where I said, God, if you take me out of this, I'll follow you or whatever. Yeah. And I did, and then after a few months, it was good. I was doing good. I was praying. I was reading the Bible. I was doing good, and I was like, you know what, I think I'm at a point in my life where I want to be with someone, but I want to be in a healthy way. And I prayed to God. This is what's crazy. This is the craziest part. I prayed to God. I said, God, I'm not looking for a girlfriend. I'm not like saying, find me a wife. I'm not saying all of that, but I'm ready for the next phase of my life. Mm-hmm. Take me where you want me to be. Mm-hmm. Do with what you want with me. And just take me where you want me to be. I kid you not, like 2 weeks, it was like a prayer. Like I had a prayer that night. Like I would just talk to God. I talked to God.
Like I had a bold prayer. Yeah. Like you remember that prayer. Because it was something out of the ordinary.
It was, definitely. Because I remember like talking to God in the sense that like, not saying like I'm ready for a relationship, but I'm saying like I'm in a mental space where I know I can handle a relationship, but I want it to be from you. I want to do what you want from me.
That's actually also a phase I had to get to. Yeah. Like for me, for a long time without dating, there was a moment so I started dating Delphi in 2022 of October, and then but it was like that 2022 in the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. It was these conversations with God where I was like, God, I think I'm ready now. Yep. Like it was this, if you want it, send it. Exactly. But like there had been years where I had never said that, and I think that's healthy. That as a Christian, when you actually pray about it, where you're not seeking it. Yep. But you're like, God, I'm at a place because you'll know. When you're spiritually strong.
And that's what we were talking about just barely, not self-isolation, but preparation. Mm-hmm. Because realistically, like we're called to have a family. Like we are, and we're called to multiply. And it's a really, really big deal, but you can't do it until you're ready.
I think a very, very big thing that I've learned in the past couple of months, maybe like about 6-8 months, is, just to really start to learn to love myself. Yeah. I think just when you start learning to love yourself, I mean, in a practical way, you're yourself. You're in the image of God. Yep. Oh, yeah. So in terms of loving yourself, you start loving God that much more. Mm-hmm. I think that's how my thought process.
And I think to clarify it too, because I think that's kind of like and I say this in all due respect, it's kind of a thin line to walk there, because I like that you mentioned that love yourself because you're made in the image of God. Yeah, that's why. But love yourself because God created you, not because like. Because sometimes people get this misconception that loving yourself is like the way, and then they make themselves like their own God.
Yeah, they become their own idol. Yeah, their pride. They worship
themselves. Yeah, and like yes, love yourself, believe in yourself, but because of who God is turning you to be.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Yeah,
all for the glory of God.
Yeah, But to just to recap the story real quick because it's crazy. 2 weeks after I made that, I kid you not, 2 weeks, dude. 2 weeks on the dot.
In 4 hours.
2
12
weeks. I'll
minutes.
read you the messages right
14
now. I
days.
can give you the minute. No, but I posted not like it wasn't like I posted a selfie on Instagram. You know, everyone does it.
Cringe. I don't do that.
I don't do it
Cringe.
anymore, bro.
Marcos doesn't do it.
I don't
That's
do it
cringe.
anymore. I don't do it
Okay,
anymore.
keep going. Keep going.
He posted it for the wrong reasons. What he's saying? No, I'm kidding.
I didn't want to say it was
He
a
knew what
thirst
he
trap.
was doing. He knew what he was doing.
But you know
I
what he
didn't
was
wanna say it
doing,
was
bro.
a thirst trap.
It's because it's not a thirst trap. It's like I don't know if there's a Christian way of saying a thirst trap, but he was just saying like, hey. I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I
ready for
exist.
whatever God wants to catch it. Yeah, for whatever God wants in my life next.
That's exactly it. Hey, you gotta work still, all right?
So-
the Lord
so-
blesses you, but you gotta work still.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and you were
Keep
saying,
going,
you were
keep
saying,
going,
yeah,
keep going,
she messaged you.
She met, and it's so funny. I still remember this. She messaged me on like a subtle way, but it was like such an obvious. Like she shot her shot. Yes, for all of you that know, I didn't message first. Put some respect on my name. But no, I kept the conversation going. I definitely kept the conversation going. She messaged me. We kept the conversation going.
Look, to be honest, he did not think he was up there
Yeah.
to be like,
No,
dude,
I
she's
didn't-
messaging me. No,
I
just
didn't.
kidding.
I didn't think I would. I mean, I know. I really didn't think of messaging.
I don't say it like in a degrading way, but it's like I think there's certain things that you don't ever really think of. Like, dude, I never thought I would see myself.
Exactly,
Like,
well-
maybe I would be like, oh, dude, that'd be cool, but never like actually see yourself.
I knew she was a pastor's daughter, and and I knew she like played, and I knew all of that stuff. So I wouldn't have gone out of my way in the sense that not like saying I'm not good enough, but like that's a lot because I know I knew what was gonna come with it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a lot to get into, basically.
Exactly.
Responsibility.
And but like she messaged me and like we started talking and we kicked it off. As time went on, it's crazy because obviously when you start dating, like early on, you're like, let's see where this goes, or let's see what I'm gonna see how it is. We honestly clicked off the rip, and we talked pretty good, and met your parents the same day we went on a date.
Really?
Remember? Because the first date I went over to your house.
You came over to our house, yeah. I
We
still
had
remember,
talk-
bro. I was not digging this guy, bro.
Which is crazy because
We were cool.
let's-
I thought we would be cool.
this is crazy because he messaged me more than my messaged me.
Like
leading up
5 times.
Yeah,
I was like, yo,
fake,
man,
bro. Why?
we
Why
have-
didn't you think we were gonna? Was it because
No, I didn't like it because he was like, bro, you're taller than I thought. Like, bro,
Whoa.
what? Excuse me? Like, he walks
That's
up to my house
crazy.
in my room and he walks in there like, oh, I thought you'd be tall. No, you said, oh, I thought you were shorter. That's what you said.
Walked into
You're like,
your
"Oh."
domain trying to.
Yeah,
size
he
you
pretty
up,
much
bro.
walked into my own room and he's like, damn, bro, I didn't know you were that tall. Dude, I remember, and I was just like, excuse me, dude. Like,
He's like, dang, he's
like in his
hey,
head, he thought I was a
basically
small little
said-
Mexican.
He basically said, I didn't know you were that tall, little bro. That's basically what
I
he said.
sometimes
I was
just
like-
speak, bro. I don't think.
Pulled up with his Cowboys jersey and everything, bro.
Oh,
Or I don't
come
know.
on.
You're blue.
The
It was blue,
first
bro.
time I showed up, okay, she did me so dirty. Maya did me so dirty, dude. I didn't think I was gonna meet your family that day, and like, cause we went, like, I went. It's a long story, but I ended up. I was wearing a different fit throughout our date, and then we went to go do something, and so I was like, I'm gonna get comfortable since I've been driving all day. I'm gonna have to drop you off. I'm like, I'm gonna get comfortable. So I put on a tracksuit.
Yeah, and he
And
pulls up to the house for the
I
first
to
time.
go drop off, and I had slides on.
Yeah, dude, I remember. I was like, okay, this guy's bold. That's what I thought, at least. So like, okay,
He's bold.
pulls up to pastor's house for the
Making
first
a-
time
He's making a statement, bro.
in a
Said, I'm
tracksuit.
rebellious.
Dude, I was so mad, dude. I was like, I really had to. And this is the story. This is how this goes down, all right? I go to walk her up to the door. She opens the door. 13 members of the family sitting in the kitchen, all at the same time.
They all
Look
look bad.
straight at the door, and I'm just there in a tracksuit and a wife beater, and I'm like,
These guys.
hi, guys.
Yeah, dude.
But moral of the story is
Way
this:
to put you on the spot, bro.
we like met, and one of the first conversations early on that I had with your parents, pastors,
And that's important.
is they talk to me and they're like, look, you're dating a woman of God who like we've raised to worship God, to serve in God, to live a life that is for God. And she does a lot at the church, and she's like, you have to know it comes with a lot of responsibilities and a lot of things come with it. It was a long conversation, and at that moment, like I thought about the prayer I had with God, and I was like, God, do what you will with me, take me where you want, and all that, you know, and it felt like it led up to that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, if I really want to love God, if I really want to like have a relationship that's have a relationship that's built around God, it comes with all this work. And it's not something easy. It's not something that's just like you show up on church on Sundays or Thursdays or once or twice a week. No, it's a life for God.
And that it's a huge responsibility when you're like, I think I want to do this with somebody else.
Yep.
And so I remember Maya had that conversation with us. She was like, yeah, like we talked and the conversations that we've had, we connected, we understood what we both want. Like, I remember she said that clearly from the beginning. We both know what we both want. And I think that was awesome because it was cool. Like, okay, they come to an agreement. They know what they want. They're being mature about it. They're being real about it. And they know they want to keep God in the center of it.
Yeah, and I mean, now look at, you've seen my growth like since from the very beginning.
Oh, yeah, dude. Very impressive. Really proud of my big brother.
Now he likes me.
Pose.
It's but honestly, like, not saying that like I needed to have Maya in order for me to grow spiritually, but being put in the place with somebody that's going to help me grow, and then a family like pastors where I mean, they're my spiritual parents.
Honest and open about it. And
and when they help, like,
they be real and help you grow as well.
Yeah, like, well, I mean, I feel like I'm discipled by your dad, you know, your parents, and it's like I wouldn't have, not say the success, but like the hunger and the fire and like my gifts to develop the way they have it, if I wasn't in a correct place, atmosphere that was led by decisions in a relationship.
I think say something is that I think everybody is it's a different situation where I think for you, who knows, maybe God gave you that Maya so early on was because, you know, without her, maybe you would have fallen off track again. Yeah. And I think it's a very important thing is that, you know, God, it's not always a bad thing. You know, like, it's like we're saying, you know, just because he's saying like, oh, like a girl will mess you up. And like, no, actually, God's will always, maybe, not always, but he'll send people to help you. And you should not be afraid to receive the help of those people.
Well, and it goes back to what I was saying. It goes back to what I was saying in the aspect of like, when you're dating, it should be around a Christ-centered relationship, because I mean, when Jesus sent out his disciples, it was in pairs of two, and I don't think it's coincidental. You know, like a couple or a marriage can be that same thing, right? Like two people that help each other.
Bring the gospel forth.
Yeah, and like pick each other up when they're down. Like, there's moments where I didn't believe in myself with some of the preachings that I was going to give, or when Maya was going to go do something or give her word, that like we help inspire each other. We like, I preach to her the words I get, she preached to me the words, like we talk about that stuff. And I think that's why when you become one flesh, if it's centered around God, it's one flesh with God.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And it's about intentionality, being intentional about it, and like really seeking that. You're not gonna seek a relationship out because they'll help you get closer to God. Like, if that's your intention, that's never gonna work. No. When that's your intention, it can be so good for you as it can be very bad for you. And so when you're
the second you guys break up, it's you stop loving God.
Exactly. And so to put your dependency on that. I remember hearing a Christian singer in the song. He talked about, like, there was a phrase that stuck with me in this season, because like I wasn't single my whole life. I just want to clarify that, because look,
he was a monk.
He wasn't a monk, bro.
Pretty much, bro. Here's a photo of me
bro,
with my head shaved from 14 to. No, I'm kidding. But no, like, okay, we have a lot of people from church who watch this, and I don't think a lot of people I've met, they've always thought like, dude, Marcos has always done it the right way his whole life. But I've had girlfriends before, but there was a phase where after a relationship that I had, I was like, I need to rethink everything I'm doing, you know? And during those years of being single, it was consecrating myself to God, trying to walk in purity. And then I remember the singer, the song had a lyric that said like, don't awaken love until you're ready for it. And when I'm like, dang, bro, like, awakening love is a decision that we make. And from a very early age, you have that opportunity or that decision you make if you want to awaken love or not. And that's, I think, when I came to that point of praying to God and be like, God, I think I'm ready for this too, was because I was like, I'm ready to awaken it. Because before that, you can set boundaries. And I think as young Christians, we got to understand how to set boundaries, because or else you're just have people walking in your life in and out, and they're just going to do whatever they want with you. But if you don't have boundaries, it can be very dangerous.
Yeah.
And so learning how to set those boundaries and not awaken love if you're not ready for it. Like my advice would be, if you can, guys, y'all don't need to be dating. Like until you really feel ready, and with the intention of getting to know somebody, knowing their standards, knowing what God can do through both of you, in both of you, and that it'll lead to marriage. So that's what has to be said.
So real quick, you know, Apostle Paul was single his whole life. He's one of the greatest men in the Bible. And it was for a reason. And I'm not saying, you know, you're gonna be single your whole life.
Multiple. I think he said it a couple times. Where he's like,
it's better to be single, but not for your like the whole life. You know, he had a purpose, and he fulfilled his purpose perfectly, and that was, you know, it required him to be single, because he was able to go around the nations preaching. That was the purpose that God gave for him. And I think we have to take advantage of, you know, of when you're single, not just, you know, don't be afraid to go out there. And try to find like,
and everything has to be rooted around the purpose that God has for you. And so if you're focused on the purpose that God has for you, He'll bring the people that He needs to bring to you.
What I was gonna say, with something that I like that you brought up, where you said I dated, like, and you're like, everyone thought I did it right. Like, look, we were all young, especially like boys. Like, I know it's so dumb to say like boys will be boys, because boys shouldn't just be boys; they should be boys of God and all that stuff, whatever. But like in one of the verses that Apostle Paul was saying to the youth, I would say, don't get married, but because our flesh is weak, right? Yeah. At the end of the day, like we are human and we have emotions, and God did make marriage and all of that for a reason, you know? I agree with you in the sense that like, don't date till you're ready. 100%. Don't date till you're ready. Don't date unless you like are knowing that like you want to take this long term. And even then, like you're young for a lot of your life, and figure out who you are. Yeah. So kind of with both what you're saying, but like what I want to add to it is you're going to have emotions. You're going to like people. You're going to want to know what it's like to go on a McDonald's date, right? Or whatever kids do now. I don't know what kids do now, but
the McDonald's the toilet.
Yeah,
McDonald's
dude.
the toilet you were telling me about
The one
the
in
other day.
Hebrew, the Hebrew one, so that she thinks it's bougie. Get the $3.
The Hebrew, the $3.29 spicy.
Oh, he bougie. He got money.
He got money.
He's built like that.
Hey, he takes him to the movie theaters. Large popcorn, please.
No, large icy too. Come on.
And an icy day.
But what I want to say is like, look, it's gonna happen. Like you're gonna talk to people. You're gonna find someone cute. All of that stuff's gonna happen. But like it leads to stuff if you're not ready for it. And what you were saying, you can get hurt. You can do things the wrong way. You can make wrong decisions. You can end up, 16 and pregnant. You can end up with a baby mama. You know, and that stuff is effective for your life, you know, and that's why
it's a generational thing.
Yeah.
So due to time, we love spending time with you guys and talking about things, but we're gonna wrap up this episode in a bit. So we'll give final thoughts, final conclusions. Everything we say, we'll just kind of say it fast. But yeah, that. And it's not like my parents always. Dating as a pastor's kid. For me, was don't tell my parents. Like, don't let them find out. And I think Christians, we have that issue as young Christians. It's like, dude, don't tell mom and dad. I'm not, because then they're going to like, no, you're not allowed to date this and that. And I always thought that parents did it because you're just not allowed to. And
they just want to be controlling.
Yeah, they want to be controlling. But I didn't realize that it was because it's like, hey, you're just opening yourself up to somebody in a way that you're not made to open up at that age. You know, you're still figuring yourself out. And coming together with a person is like you sticking to that person, coming together and gluing each other. And when you're still figuring out who you are, when you guys eventually split up and now you have parts of that person and as parts of you and you can't ever really get rid of that. And it sucks when you've interrupted your journey of trying to figure out who you are, but now you've also got a lot of things that you're carrying from that. And it's like, I didn't know it was to protect yourself. I didn't know it was because there actually are consequences of it. I'm like, all my friends are dating, so why can't I? And it's like, you know, it's just a thing everybody does. But guys, trust me, when you're in church, it's a lot. more worth it to just focus on yourself
Yeah.
and try to figure out that purpose God has for you. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be one full of purpose, intention, and goodness.
And when you this is my final thoughts. I love what you said. And when you have a Christ-based relationship, both you and the person understand that you love God first, and that your guys' purpose is to become who God wants you to be. When you guys come together, it's that much more powerful. But also, it means the relationship is going to be healthier. You guys are going to be happier. There's going to be less doubt, less arguments. Not saying you're not going to argue, not saying it's not going to be hard, because it is. We're still people. But because God is your center, God is your rock, that God's going to keep you guys together.
And God created that covenant to be pleasant, to be joyful, to actually be healthy and good.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
It's
when
not
you wait
wrong.
on God, the promises are always going to be better.
And it's a blessing when it's from
It's a
God.
blessing,
It's a blessing when it's from God. Not saying that like God put someone aside just for you, because I think that's kind of corny. I think God creates people to have paths that God will make anything ugly beautiful, but God has a purpose for you. God has a purpose for somebody else, and God can put those two purposes together as long as both of them have the same center.
It's good.
Yeah.
So just if you're gonna date, sorry to recap, if you're gonna date, you should definitely date in Christ, and you should wait till you're at the age where you can make decisions to like maybe get married or maybe do that stuff. So I would recommend wait till you're at least 20. Not saying like don't talk to people, not saying don't have crushes, not saying don't do any of that, but don't start something if you're not ready to finish it.
Spend your youth setting standards, boundaries, and the things that are going to be good for you.
I'll give my few
We'll let Brian
final
talk.
thoughts. Sorry. And if you guys are like in that phase where I was, where I'm telling you I went through my first breakup, it's not the end of the world. Like if I wish somebody would have told me this back then is, go back and look for your first love, God, Jesus Christ. Just seek him with all your heart. It's like you're saying, the promises will eventually come. It might take a while. Who knows how long it'll take, but it will come as long as you have faith that he will complete his promises.
Exactly.
Amen.
That's so good.
And sorry, we could get so deep into this.
We could.
We really do. We want to know how you guys respond to this on this topic. If you guys want to hear more about like
You know what?
dating,
I think better said we will make another episode on dating.
A little down the road, some things that we
Let's maybe have the girls do an episode on dating.
Yeah.
To get their perspective,
Yeah.
because we as guys, I think we gave a lot of our perspective, because as boys, out here it's just try to get the girl.
Yeah, we'll have some guests.
Yeah,
we'll just have the girls do a girl episode.
We'll just
the
get
next the next episode on dating or love and all that. It won't be us. We'll give the girls an episode.
and then if you guys want to talk about like some of the consequences of dating young and wrong decisions, because like what we talked about where it gets pretty deep. There's some stuff that can get pretty deep, and we don't want to talk about that unless you guys want to hear about it.
So at the end of the day, guys, just wait on
Sermon
God.
on the Mount.
Sermon on the Mount. For real, yeah.
Sermon on the Mount, yeah.
Go out there and live a blessed life. Don't forget to share this podcast with your friends. Send it to your crush.
And when you say Happy Valentine, hey, when you say Happy Valentine's, and say love is found in Jesus.
It's found in Jesus.
You gotta do it with the love.
No, but for real, dude, send them to your crush so that they know, oh, this person's got boundaries. He's a man of God. He's got standards. He's gonna treat me right.
He wants to date me, but wants to be in love with Christ first.
He's got priorities, man.
Jesus says, treat your wife like Jesus treated the church.
Right, guys, we're wrapping that up. Thank you guys so much for listening. Share that with your friends. Don't forget to like, comment, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's. Happy
Happy
birthday.
Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's.
Let's go.
Let's go.
God bless
Come on,
you.
Sermon on the Mount.
Sermon on the Mount.